Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Tuesday, May the 21st, 2019, at 9 a.m. in Council Chambers. And are there introduction of late items? No, nothing. So could we please have a motion to adopt the agenda? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. And we have some delegations this morning, 3 of them actually, and we're very happy that that the grade 8 class at the Osoyoos Secondary School has come to join us because, in fact, this is Local Government Awareness Week I think in Canada. Is that correct, or is it in BC? I think it's in Canada. In Canada? And the idea of this is to have local roles and responsibilities to make those people aware of those and encourage participation in local government processes. So welcome to the students who are here today and Mrs. Gilchrist. And we just want you to see how the Committee of the Whole meeting works. We do this every time that we have a council meeting. We have a Committee of the Whole, which is not a decision-making meeting, but we do hear from people who have particular interests that they think council should know about. And at this meeting, we listen, and if we decide that we need to do something further, we need to ask for a staff report, or we need to get some more information on it, then that's what we do. So we're very happy to have all of you here today, and Music in the Park is here as well. So I'm going to ask that the school spokesman or spokespeople, would you like to come up to the microphone and tell us what you have in mind? Welcome. While we're waiting, did any of you, were any of you actors in the Shrek the Musical that I saw last week? Somebody was? Good. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought that everybody, including the actors and the people who moved the furniture and who sold the tickets and who made the costumes, which were amazing, you all did a terrific job. So thank you for putting that on at the school, because I know it was very well attended.
Project of Heart, a gesture of reconciliation. Good morning, Mayor McCordoff and the Osoyoos Town Council. Our class has been working on the Project of Heart back in February, when we finished a novel study book called My Name is C Pizza. In the book, there was a young girl account of her experiences in residential school in Kamloops. Before and during our novel study, our class talked about the residential schools as a part of Canada's history. Our class was so resistant at first because we thought that we already learned everything, and there was to know about this topic in elementary school, but we soon found out that it was not.
Cold hard facts. We watched a few videos and did some research, and we found some pretty startling statistics about residential schools and how Indigenous people were treated in them. The most shocking things that we learned were that 6,000 children died at residential schools in Canada. There are about 130 schools across Canada operating from 1876 to 1996, and about 150,000 children attended the residential schools, and there's about 80,000 survivors.
Cold hard facts continued. After learning some statistics and facts about residential schools in Canada, we started to ask questions. How did this happen? Why did the Indigenous parents seem to let their kids go to these schools? Why were the conditions so bad? Why were so many abused? And why did no one do anything about it?
Canada's hidden history. As we looked more into these questions, we found that actually the Canadian government made it law that all Indigenous kids had to attend residential schools, saying that he wanted to, quote, get rid of the Indian problem, end quote. Even though some kids like Dr. Bryce tried to stop it by making the government aware that kids were dying at an alarming rate, they were silenced.
The legacy of Canada's residential schools. The odds of children dying in Indian residential schools was higher than the odds of dying in the World War II. And, if you did survive, many enduring traumatic experiences, like extreme punishments, physical, emotional, and sexual abuse.
Ongoing impacts. The abuse not only continues to impact the 80,000 survivors across our country, but we also learned that intergenerational trauma and how that cycle is passed down through generations until it's healed.
The Truth and Reconciliation Commission. That is why we started to learn about what it means to reconcile with Indigenous peoples in our country. In order to heal, people need to change to speak the truth, be heard and acknowledged, and we need to work on creating new relationships with each other in order to end racism and make sure something like this never happens again.
Project of Heart. Enter a Project of Heart. Our class's gesture of reconciliation is participating in Project of Heart. Project of Heart is an ongoing project. It involves research, inquiry, and a bit of creativity and artwork. It started by a teacher in Ottawa who wanted her students to learn about the negative impact of residential schools in order to change the future and to make an act of reconciliation.
Project of Heart. What? This is a project. Some children of reconciliation are making tiles of an art piece. The tiles represent the life of a child who died or survived. A black border is a life lost, and bright colors are to recognize a student that survived. Our class, as well, and a few other classes from the school made tiles. We also went to the Osoyoos Elementary School and led the students learning about residential schools and making their own tiles to contribute. Our tiles are blessed by an elder and district Indigenous education leader, Miss Helen Gallagher.
Product of Heart, our request to you. We then took our tiles and formed them into the shape of a heart. We now want to share this message of reconciliation with more people as an act of social justice. We would like to request your permission to install a piece of art along with a small information card explaining the project in Sonora Center.
As you can see here, our heart is missing a few tiles, but we plan to fill it in fully before installation. Our goal is to have the heart mounted inside a frame that would possibly have a thin plexiglass cover to protect it. We look for your advice to finding an exact location within the Sonora Center. Thank you very much for your time and consideration on our project today.
Well, thank you very much for coming and telling us about this. You've done a lot of research on it, that's for sure, and that looks like a great project. So, Council, did anyone have any questions? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member McCordoff. Can't even begin to tell you how many times I've said this over my years on council. By far my most favorite times is when our students come and make presentations to this. Your request is what I would put in a no-brainer category. I think we can work that out pretty easy. But I did want to say that the research that you put into this is so important in this day and age. Canadians have made a lot of mistakes in the past. We're way better now than we have been, but we still have a long road to go with this particular situation. And you know, what you do is so important. It does make a difference. It's going to make a difference to everybody in this room, so way to go. I'm so proud of you for bringing this up and coming down here. I know it's a hard thing to do to stand in front of people, but way to go, and thank you very, very much for doing this.
Thank you. So, Mr. Manco, could we have a report done on how we could proceed with the request from the school?
If that's the motion that council wants to put on the floor, then we would entertain that and bring it back to council at the next meeting.
Okay.
That would give Director
Davis.
Gerald there an opportunity, Davis, opportunity to take a look and maybe work with the group, find a site that would be appropriate, and then
Good.
we can go from there.
Good, thank you. Councillor Rhodes is making that motion that we go ahead with the report. Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you very much, and good luck. I hope you fill in the rest of it. I only had one question when you were doing this. I'm wondering if you've included any of the other groups that were in residential schools as well, such as the Doukhobors. I know that they were, and they probably went through a similar experience. And I know that because my husband's family was involved with that, so it's quite personal. And I'm wondering if there are any other groups in Canada. Definitely, they would probably all be part. I'm wondering about a lot of the Japanese people that came over here. I think that they were obviously interred as well. So thank you very much for bringing this up, and well done to continue with making a project out of this and making us all aware. And this is on camera, so everybody who's listening and who is watching on their TV can see this, that you're on there. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you for your time.
Can we clap for that, Sue?
Sure, you can clap for it. And you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome to stay to the rest of our program. I'm not sure what your schedule is, so thank you. The next is the music in the park, and I think we have 4. Oh, we have the 4 amigos here today? Okay. So we have the 4 amigos, and Shirley, congratulations on joining them. Would someone like to come up and speak about this? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm taller. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for hearing us today, and town staff. My name is Janice St. Louis. I'm one of 4 amigos. We were the 3 amigos. We're now 4 on our team. I'd like to introduce the others. Debbie Dundas. She looks after all our promotion, and she'll talk about it in a few minutes. Roland Berg. He's actually a musician, so he makes sure the bands show up and the power's on and they're setting up properly, and make sure they get off the stage and take all their stuff with them. And our newest member, Shirley Baker. Now, you know Shirley from Festival Society, and she does the entertainment on July 1st. And we always consult with each other when it comes to booking bands, because who are you booking? We're booking these people, that sort of thing. So Shirley, we were pleased to see that she wanted to join the Amigos. So we're going to initiate her on the first concert by making her wear a sombrero, I think. My role usually is to do all the communication with the bands, contracts, financial stuff, the really interesting administrative stuff. And we all join together and decide who we want to choose. And we also need to acknowledge our spouses, because they help us as well, even though they're not acknowledged so much. Either counting the audience, we do that about 3 times to compare numbers. Sometimes when Bylaw is not around, being a bouncer and helping with setting up chairs when we have them and putting them back. This is our 5th year of producing these free concerts at Gyro. They're free, unlike some other venues. 6:30 to 8:30 every Friday night in July and August. Our first one is the July long weekend, so that's June 28th. And just to give you a little background on how we do this, we're all volunteers, of course, And we actually start in November, December, looking at all the different bands that are available and how we want to do a mix, because we want to do a variety of different genres just to, please everybody at least once in 10 nights. And I think we pretty much know who our audience is now. We know what kind of things they like, and we did receive a bit more money this last year, and that allowed us to hire larger bands and fill that stage. Our audiences range from 300 to 650, and we're happy, we're pleased that we've been able to use the Sonora Center as our bad weather venue. We were using the Legion, but they can only hold 110 people, so that's not enough room. Plus, their upstairs is not wheelchair accessible. And at least 4 times a year, Mariposa bus takes residents there to come. And last year, the year that we didn't have the Sonora, they had to return everybody home because they're all in wheelchairs. So we're very excited about this year's lineup. You think you've got the poster in your attachment. I've got some rack cards that I can share after. And because I know you'll all want to put them on your fridge and make sure that you come most nights. The new thing this year, too, is we've had more bands approach us. We've had over 40 bands contact us throughout the year wanting to perform. They love Osoyoos. The bands love performing. I mean, we're looking at them at the stage, but they're looking at the lake and the mountain, and they just love it. We also network with the Oliver Music in the Park, as well as Penticton, as well as with Shirley, and now part of our team, with all the activities on July 1st. So Debbie's going to talk a little bit about promotion now, and then I'll come back briefly, and then that's it.
Good morning. Thank you.
Morning.
Let's adjust that down. We are gearing up for a really, really big year. There just feels to be a real rhythm and excitement in the air. There's increased awareness of music in the park, and it's really becoming, if it's Friday, you know where you got to be. It's Gyro Park. We do have the banner across Main Street, so we thank you for that. There was a bit of red tape involved, and that just sailed right through, so that was excellent. We have our web page, our Facebook page, and as well, of course, Instagram. And we're a member of the Osoyoos and District Arts Council, which also promotes our work. Destination Osoyoos, I can't say enough. I met with Kelsey Archibald, the Visitor Services Manager, met with her last fall for advice, direction, support. She edited my press release. That's obviously not my specialty, so she tweaked that for me. It was lovely. In late April, I put a post on Facebook, which is our main medium, announcing our lineup, our poster, and a year ago we had about 1,000, likes, as they call it. This year we hit 4,500, and I'm like, yes, this is excellent. So did that on a Friday. I was out Monday evening and came home, had a message from Janice. We're at 10,000. I'm like, what? And I thought, can't be. No. I went to bed the next morning. We're at 11,000. I'm like, oh my goodness, how is this possible? So you drill down the wonders of Facebook, you know how to go through the corners and so on. Kelsey had posted it with Destination Osoyoos at 12 noon on Monday. We are now sitting at 13,000 clicks on that page. It generated 47 shares across the Facebook world and 38 new followers to our page. So to say I'm pleased, that's really an understatement. So kudos to Destination Osoyoos for helping us out. Facebook obviously is a spider's web of interconnections, but it's not our only form of promotion. We go through the Osoyoos Times, the Osoyoos Today, the town webpage, Easy Rock, our local radio station, Cairo, anywhere and anyone that will take my poster and press release, I hand it over. And obviously we're putting the poster up around town. I'll just close with some feedback that we are receiving from some of our tourists who are coming to town and making comments on our Facebook page and our web page. Fantastic family fun. Look forward to it every year. Keep it up, please. Visiting from Winnipeg. Heard about the music in the park. Great venue beside the lake. Gorgeous weather. Awesome music from Sabrina Weeks and her dance band. And then most recently, a gentleman who literally was planning his vacation, wanted to check our lineup so they could come accordingly. So he said, Osoyoos has become our favorite family vacation destination for the past 4 years. The outdoor music concert series made last year's visit all the more memorable. We danced, we enjoyed a beautiful sunset evening, and we had a great time. It's another reason why we love Osoyoos. So thank you. I'll turn it back to Janice.
I think our favorite one is the Naden Band. Is that where you had the highest numbers?
Yes.
Yeah. And they're coming back. Is this their fourth time?
Third time. We had the Air Force Band when they were sent overseas. The funny thing this year is that they approached us.
Yeah.
I had already contacted Winnipeg because I thought we'll do the Air Force Band, and they couldn't plan that far ahead. Then the Navy Band contacted me and said, "Can we come back?" And I'm going, "Okay, we'll just juggle this." But anyway, it turned out well. I just wanted to mention one other thing. Another initiative we do with our funding that we get from you is piano in the park. And all that it costs is the repairs. We have got to repair the wheels on the box this year. But that's mid-June. The free piano in the park will be back, and for everyone to enjoy. And a lot of the volunteers that we have for that are people who live in White Sands. So it's nice because we lock it up at night and open it in the morning. Anyway, we're here to thank you. It's not ask for something, but we want to thank you so much for your continued support for Music in the Park. Mayor and Council, as well as Barry, one of our biggest regulars there, I noticed, for your continued support through the Resort Municipality initiatives. We really appreciate, and we hope to see you all on Friday nights.
Thank you very much. You will. I'll be there.
Yes, I.
This comes from our Resort Municipality funding every year, and that's one of the pluses that we have that money and we can use it to support this Music in the Park. And I must say that it's kind of spawned music in several other places too during the week and at several of the venues in town. So music is a huge push. And of course, on July 1st, we have music all day long down at the band shell. So
if we get requests from people, it may be a single or a duo, and they're not appropriate for our venue, then we just refer them on to JoJo's or Wildfire Grill, so it works out. Yeah.
Good.
Any
well,
questions?
Thank you very much, and well done for getting this organized again. We have a contract with you for the next 5 years for sure. So just so that you know, the four of you are on contract.
All
okay?
Right. Then we get benefits. That's
No, the benefits are you get to come and talk to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have one more delegation. And we have, I think some of them are outside. I'm wondering if, I'm not sure how many there are. There's 3. Are there some chairs that we can? We have a meeting. Okay, thank you. There's going to be some room here in just a minute. Thank you. Would you like to bring the rest of them in? So, welcome to the Desert Park Exhibition Society, and you're on. So, would you like to come up and tell us a little bit about your ask, please? Thank you very much, Bobby.
Thank you, all the councillors. I did send an email. Did everybody get it?
Yes.
And I hope that you had time to just think about it. I want to keep this simple, and I won't take up much time, because basically what we really want is for fresh eyes to look at the situation of our cash flow, which is dented by the water sewer taxes. So we're asking that you reconsider the water sewer taxes, which were just recently put on last year, I believe. And because of the fact that we do need to have cash flows that I've outlined, and we only have 2, one of them being the RV sites, the other one being the horse training, This year, no medieval fair. I don't know whether anybody missed the medieval fair. I had my retirement this weekend, not doing it. But we wouldn't have had enough money to do it anyway. So one of the reasons for this is we need to build up contingency funds in order to upgrade some of our machinery, in order for us to put on these events, and in order for us to just continue to survive. We feel that we have a good partnership with the town and that we do a service that is valuable to the town. I hope that everybody agrees with that and would like to see us continue. So basically, I don't want to take any more time. It's a question of you folks knowing what you're going to do, talking about it, and if you want to ask any questions, I'm glad to answer if I can.
Thank you very much, and I will open it up to council. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Well, I read with interest your email that you sent to us. There was some figures, and I'm wondering, do you have financial statements? Like, do you have an income statement and a balance sheet
Yes.
that might contribute to our decision making with this? Personally, I would like to see it. I don't think that we're going to make a decision right now today, but
No.
As part of the information that we gather over the next little while, I'd be very interested in seeing them, and might give us a little bit, a little bit of initiative to move forward with it.
Sure. I can certainly send that to you by email if that's all right. We have our financial statements for the year end, which are very interesting. Don't forget that we have a new board. Virtually everybody is new on the Desert Park board with one or two exceptions. So last year may not be representative of how we're going to manage it this year. But I will send that to you, and I will send also the more recent ones if we have them. Okay.
Please do.
else?
Any information that you can give us is helpful.
Yeah.
Anybody
Like
else?
the medieval
have-
fair, I might just add, is a $45,000 undertaking.
Yes. And I do understand it was well received and something a little different in the town. And I'm sorry that you don't have it on, but totally understand that sometimes these things are just not manageable. But
Right, and we're looking to another event, as I think I told you at the beginning, with
Yes.
the Canadian Indian relay racing, who are going to be coming through here in June, going to Seattle, where they're doing a presentation at the Emerald Downs. They get a $62,000 fee for going there this year. That's their annual championship, and it's American, so it's a bit over the top for us. But I've asked them to come by and have a look at the facility, but I do know that they asked for $23,000. So those are the kinds of things
Yes.
we have in mind.
Okay. Thank you very
Anything else?
much. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to thank you and your group for the work you do and the hours you put in to maintain a facility the town actually owns. I don't think without your group that facility would be in the condition it is. I know it's a struggle with horses. I couldn't do it myself, but again, I just want to thank you and your group. And I think if you sent the finances for the end of the year and your last most updated monthly statement, we could all have a look at it and then maybe put you back on the agenda and decide what we can do for you.
Yeah, I don't expect any decisions today. I
No.
just wanted to say, we need to have a little help here and maybe a little bit of fresh look and a revised thought about how restricted we are with the use of the RVs, because without them we would not be here.
Good.
So anything else?
Councillor Rhodes.
Just a question for staff. Do you require anything from us to move forward, or?
I think the only thing, and I don't know if it'll show up in the financials, but certainly we would need to know what the monthly charges are per stall that are currently being charged per unit.
Mm-hmm.
If
answer
that doesn't
that.
show up in the financials, then it needs to show up in information someplace.
I can tell you it's 150.
Okay.
Pretty easy.
That would be best sent
I will.
via an email or something for us to have a look at. And this is not a decision-making meeting, so what we will do is, and is that what you were asking? Should we
Yeah.
have a motion to bring a report back? Is that what you?
That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you're making that motion?
I'll just make
Thank
one
you.
other suggestion. Maybe on the separate, when you send in the rent for the stalls, you mention the rent for the RVs also,
Certainly.
and it breaks
That's
it down.
Yeah.
You said
Is that
stall.
included in
Well,
it?
Both, yeah. Two
In
stalls.
everything?
That's what I meant, RV stalls.
Oh, we think of stalls as horses.
Yes.
Well, we need both.
To be honest, the RVs aren't much bigger than the stalls in the barn.
Okay, so we'll need to know how much you...
Send both.
you-
They'll be there.
Yes, thank
They'll
you.
be there.
Good. Well,
Any other-
so we have a motion to ask for a report. Councillor King is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. And thank you for coming and sharing that with us. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And next we have Business 1, boat trailer parking. Is that you, Mr. Romanko?
It is.
You're going to talk about this? Thank you.
In 2009, Council passed Traffic Bylaw number 1256. When considering this bylaw, Council required that a recreational vehicle parking be limited to no more than 2 hours in town, except in the case of emergency situations. In 2010, Council passed Off-Street Parking Regulation Bylaw number 1274. This bylaw covered the boat trailer parking lot as well as other town-owned and controlled parking lots. Both bylaws have been amended over time, and a copy of each as consolidated are attached for Council's information. Over the past few years, there have been requests from prospective visitors to Osoyoos for permits to park their RV in town lots while they stay at hotels or family members' home. If possible, staff have issued permits to park in certain areas, including 74th Street parking lot and the boat trailer parking lot. This report is being brought forward for Council's consideration of bylaw amendments to both bylaws 1256 and 1274. Section 12.7 of Bylaw 1256 prohibits the parking of any motorhome, trailer, or including a trailer attached to a motor vehicle upon any street unless in emergency situations or for the purposes of loading or unloading, and in the case of a motorhome, only for a period not to exceed 2 hours while doing business in town. Since this bylaw was adopted, there have been many requests or situations for special consideration of parking RVs in town. Private residents have asked for 24-hour parking permits to allow them to load and unload, as 2 hours is not usually sufficient. For example, they may want to load up the trailer and hook it up the day before they leave on their trip. There have also been requests from residents who have families passing through and will be staying in their home but need a place to park their RVs someplace during the stay. Council is being asked to reconsider this section and allow for parking in front of someone's home for 24 hours without a permit, or for more than 24 hours with a permit, both on the condition that the RV is not connected to any services on the property. This will allow residents to host families overnight while not blocking or using valuable parking areas, and allowing staff to issue for longer stays with limitations. Bylaw 1274 does not allow for any vehicle other than a boat trailer to be parked in the boat trailer parking area. This does, however, give the CO authority to issue parking permits for extended use of off-street public parking under certain conditions, but this is not covered in the parking of RVs in the boat trailer parking lot. It was brought to staff's attention that the 74th Street parking lot is designed in such a way as maneuvering such a motorhome, travel trailer, or fifth wheel is very difficult. Issuance of special RV parking permits for the use of the boat trailer parking lot was possible under the old system of vehicles requiring permits. However, with the new ticket pay machine on site, this is no longer a straightforward solution. Council is being asked to consider designating an off-street parking area for the extended RV parking. This could possibly be one section of the boat trailer parking lot, which would have additional signage placed designating RV parking only and requiring a permit from the town as well as the pay parking ticket. 3 options are presented to Council. One, that staff be directed to prepare amendments to the traffic control bylaw number 1256, 2009, to allow for 24-hour parking of RVs on residential streets without a permit, or longer than 24 hours with a permit, on the condition that in either case the RV must be parked in front of the residence requesting the permit, and the RV must not be connected to any services. 2, that staff be directed to prepare amendments to the off-street parking bylaw number 1274, 2010, to designate a small portion of the boat trailer parking lot for visitor RV parking only for less than 1 week period of time with permit from the town and payments of the required pay parking fees. and through the staff not make any changes to either bylaw. Staff recommends options number 1 and 2. Visitors to town who may be passing through with a recreational vehicle should have some option for parking their RV if staying in a hotel or private residence during their stay. The off-street parking bylaw would limit the parking of RVs in the boat trailer parking lot to visitors only.
Thank you very much. And I know Ms. Van Vienen is on holiday, and she was the one who did the report. I had a question about. I understand the idea of parking in front of your own residence. I'm a little bit concerned about some of the. Would it be looked at it on an individual basis? And I'm thinking about some of the streets that have. What do you call them? Roundabouts,
cul-de-sacs.
Cul-de-sacs. And it concerns me that there could be a bit of a tight squeeze. So that's why I'm wondering: would each individual application be looked at where they live, how much property they have, and that they would not interfere with?
In terms of issuing a permit, we would.
Yes.
The neighborhood impacts would have to be considered. If what's being proposed goes forward, we're basically providing residents the opportunity for having 24 hours without a permit.
Right.
So if there are negative community impacts, we really wouldn't know about them unless there's complaints from the neighbors.
Okay.
And certainly that would highlight, we would hope that residents would recognize the impacts on their neighbors, and but that's not always the way the situation is.
Sure. No, get it. Councillor Harvey, then Councillor King.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Yeah, it seems to me that perhaps we should be seeking a permit for 24 hours as well, just so that we know, and the residential impact is up front. The 2-hour permit, I mean, across the street from me or down the street, there's trailers parked for days, hooked up. It doesn't affect me directly, but unless one of the neighbors complains, it happens, and bylaw doesn't drive by. So I don't think insisting on a permit even for the first 24 hours beyond the 2-hour thing would be unreasonable.
Okay, thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think you're going to start to create a headache for the bylaws, but I will wait for the report. I see no problem with 24 hours, but once you give a permit, the question would be, is it going to be a week or a month? And then you're competing with RV people, charging rent. So I think you're going to find an issue there, and people will be sleeping in them on the street because you're not going to micromanage them. So I'll wait for the report to come back, but those are some of my concerns.
Yeah, and again, in the context of the report, we're looking at limiting the number of days that they'd allow to park in the boat trailer parking.
I'm talking on the street, not in the RV.
Well, if they're parking on the street, we're not going to issue a permit for any extended period of time.
Isn't that the way it reads right here?
24 hours. If somebody is visiting and for 24 hours, that's one thing. But if they're going to require parking over 24 hours, if council provides us the opportunity to send those people to the boat trailer parking.
I just read the last set that says they could ask for a permit, the way I interpret it. But I'll wait for the report.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a, you get a company that's kind of blowing through town.
Okay.
They stay for 24 hours. If they want to stay for longer, then they're going to require a permit, and then we would send them to the RV site.
Okay.
To the boat trailer parking.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Well, I'm just going back to when we first kind of designed these bylaws and the many, many reasons why we put them into place. I don't think it would be serve any positive purpose right now to bring all of those up at this point. But there are a couple of things I would like to see included in this. The permitting process has to have a traffic obstruction point to it. Just going from memory, I can think of many, many streets, Solana Key, Bayview, that if you park an RV in front of your house, you're going to be obstructing the flow of traffic through there. It just won't happen. The other thing that I'm concerned about is stratas and their ability to park. We need to address that in some way. Just, go as an example, if you drive along Oleander, there are a few stratas in there, and if you allow every one of those residents to park a motorhome on Oleander, that goes without saying. So I don't know how we're going to address it, but I think it should be a concern as part of the permitting process. Those are two of the points that I can bring up from memory as to why we restricted them in the first place, and I think they need to be addressed in any of the future reporting that we do.
Can we ask to have a report brought back?
Yes, again, this is seeking out information that would assist in developing, first of all, if council doesn't go with the direction under number 3, then that we would bring back the bylaws as for debate.
Yeah.
But again, this is the opportunity for council to provide us some very specific direction on the bylaws. I must say, before we take another question, there were situations when we first made those bylaws, but since then the situation has changed as well. For example, now we do have paid parking at the boat trailer parking. Before, it was very specifically meant for boat trailers. And it was, although it continues to be resort municipality funded, we do have space that will accommodate these visitors to our community, which achieves the goals of the resort municipality funding as well.
Certainly. Got it. Councillor Harvey.
One other thing with the street parking aspect is, potential concern. I had this from somebody who read the agenda today, that it be for family coming through and not be turned in, somehow not be turned into a opportunity to rent out your street front, which is not your property.
That's true.
By getting a permit for a week for somebody with a trailer or a motorhome. And so some way of restricting and prohibiting anything like that.
Yeah.
I read that, and I think that may be a little over the top, but we can address that particular issue. Again, this goes to it's complaint driven, and I'm sure if somebody was living in front of somebody's house, we would get a complaint about it and would be able to drawn to it.
I was looking at the second bylaw thing, and it says it was brought to staff's attention that the 74th Street parking lot is designed in such a way. There actually are two on 74th. Am I not correct? One across from R&R Rentals behind Home Hardware, and one up at the corner.
Oh yeah, we're not looking at the one behind Home Hardware.
We're not. We're just looking at.
We were sending it to the one on 80 on 87th here.
Across from the
yes, and that probably should have been highlighted a little better.
Okay,
but,
that might be. And also, can I ask? It seems to me, 76th is Main Street, so 78th one north. There is a place along there which says motorhome parking. Am I correct? There are signs there. Is that? I think so. Like from the post office and down, there are some signs. I don't know whether they're still there. And I'm just wondering if that is just for people stopping to shop or go to a restaurant or something. That's the idea. It's not for overnight.
Yes. Again, the situation is to address people who want to stay overnight versus people who are just traveling through town and need a place to park. And even then, I noticed this weekend, in behind Dr. Calder's office there must have been about 6 RVs parked in that particular area where people came in and saw a good place to park.
Yes. No, it's totally understandable, especially this weekend because we had all these boats here. Yes, Mr. Davis.
Gerald, your mic.
Oh, sorry. I just thought this was a really good opportunity for...
Gerald, it's not on.
I thought this was a really good opportunity for where we had another group here with relation to their RV sites, that if people put a permit together to park on the street, that we can refer them to Desert Park to keep that full.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of options that we could look at. I think it sounds like, to me, it sounds like both of these need looking at and definitely have some good ideas in them. Could we ask to have it looked
Reports
at?
coming.
Yeah, just a motion to have a report come to council to consider amendments to traffic control bylaw number 1256, 2019, and off-street parking bylaw number 1274, 2010, and I'll work into the considerations in that bylaw, the discussions that we've had here today.
Are you making that motion?
Just one more comment. If I
Okay.
When we were designing these bylaws back in 2009, I remember getting my calculator out, and we created 8.6 kilometers of parking with this bylaw, and keeping vehicles with boat attachments, RVs, or any combination of that. I would argue against, inhibiting that once again, because we do enjoy, the single vehicle being able to park freely in our community and that kind of thing. So I wonder if we can just keep that in mind when we're considering it. We enjoy having these people, but our community is not all about providing, this type of thing. And it sounds like I'm being critical of your suggestions, but I'm not. There was good purpose behind developing this bylaw in the first place, and I'd hate to compromise that in any way. So.
Yeah, and we when we recognize that, and that's why we identified potentially a limit to the number of RVs being parked there. And we don't get a lot of requests, but at the same time, getting those requests of people, they're on long-term, and we've got two we're dealing with right now. One person they want to stay in a hotel for 3 nights, but they have an RV and a trailer, and they're asking where can we park. And rather than, we want to be good hosts, and rather than just sort of brush it off and say, go find a private place to park, it is an opportunity to be a good host, but again with limitations of what the area was initially designed to achieve.
Yeah, if I could, I think it's important to realize that the hundreds of people that have single vehicles that park in those places where boats and trailers and motorhomes have previously occupied, they're the silent majority now, and I don't want to reverse that energy back to accommodating one group over another.
Yep.
So.
Got it. Thank you. So would someone like to make a motion, please, that we send this back for some updates?
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King. All in favor? Thank you very much. And I believe that's all that we have on the agenda today, so I need a motion to adjourn, please. Councillor King, Councillor Harvey, all in favor. Thank you.